For those who are called or chosen, a birthday transcends the simple marking of another 12 months. It functions as an invisible doorway connecting their past and future timelines. It's a moment of profound spiritual gravity, where the divine leans in and softly affirms, "You have successfully navigated another complete cycle. Now, with renewed purpose and clarity, step forward into the one awaiting you." While the majority busies themselves with external noise and distraction, the chosen one consciously retreats into a state of pure presence. They aren't hungering for fleeting human recognition. They are craving divine alignment. Their spirit actually begins to register the weight and pressure of this temporal shift days before the calendar date. It's a deeply intuitive sense, much like an animal instinctively sensing a storm coming. A spiritual shift that only their soul can fully comprehend. As the outside world attempts to mark the day with superficial distractions and loud festivities, the chosen individual makes the radical choice to stand completely still, to deliberately listen, to deeply feel, and to initiate a complete inner reset. This intentional stepping away is not loneliness or isolation. It is a form of sacred self-reprogramming, a necessary and divine recalibration between the person they were in the previous cycle and the person they are actively becoming in the next. Because with every passing year, an internal awareness stirs and awakens within them a little more profoundly, an intuitive depth that is simply beyond the grasp of others. And today, our mission is to peel back the layers and illuminate the hidden significance behind this quietude. We'll uncover the 6 profound secrets of the chosen ones who choose not to celebrate their birthdays with fanfare, and reveal why their hushed, solitary day possesses exponentially more spiritual power than 1,000 loud cheers combined. If you recognize yourself in this description, if you are one of them, commit to staying with me until the very end, because the truths shared today will finally validate that inexplicable, deep-seated feeling you've carried but could never adequately articulate. It's time to fully comprehend the mystery of your own sacred silence. Before we fully immerse ourselves in these revelations, please give this video a thumbs up as a show of appreciation. Make sure you've clicked the subscribe button to join our community. And most importantly, take a moment to comment 99 below. Why 99? Because 99 is universally recognized as the number signifying divine completion, the spiritual sign that one profound cycle is drawing to a reverent close, and that a new, holy beginning is immediately at hand. For the chosen ones, birthdays are less about sequential dates on a planner, and more about spiritual thresholds. They are pressure-sensitive doorways where the surrounding atmosphere subtly changes. The natural light seems to refract differently, and the soul becomes acutely aware of approaching footsteps from the future. Days before anyone else even registers the date, their inner climate begins to profoundly shift. Sleep patterns feel altered, dormant. Random memories bubble up to the surface like long-sealed letters finally being delivered to the intended recipient. Past events and old scenes replay themselves in the mind, not to inflict pain, but to starkly illuminate what must be wholly released and let go before the critical new assignment arrives. While their physical body continues with the motions of daily life, their spirit is already poised and waiting at the border of a brand new year. Their spiritual palms open and receptive, actively listening. This is the fundamental reason for their withdrawal. It's not simply because the presence of other people drains their energy, but because noise itself becomes an unbearable volume when the quiet, clear instructions of the divine are being whispered. Their heart naturally converts into a spiritual command center. Previously unseen behavioral patterns suddenly make themselves visible in the stillness. They observe who truly nourished their spirit, who consistently bled their energy dry, what established habits naturally amplified their anointing, and which ones constantly leaked it away. They start to perceive timelines not as continuous, straight paths, but as complex, interweaving threads held securely in the hand of the divine. One thread is being carefully tied off, signifying completion, while another is simultaneously being gently pulled from an unseen, limitless spool. This is not mere self-reflection or sentimental nostalgia. It is pure spiritual intelligence at work. As a significant cycle closes, the energetic field surrounding the chosen one becomes intensely charged. This powerful charge is dual-natured. It simultaneously attracts profound clarity and significant interference. Consequently, they make the conscious decision to step back, to intentionally limit conversations, and most notably, they do not publicize this critical shift. They prepare for it internally and meticulously. They are often compelled to physically clean and declutter their personal space, as if they instinctively know that making space physically alters fate itself. They organize digital files, systematically delete old, energetically heavy messages, and strive to finish any outstanding, unsettled tasks. This isn't born of mere superstition. It is a profound and spiritual precision. Heaven inherently favors and rewards order. They begin to refine their prayers, transforming them from sprawling general lists of wants into laser-focused intentions. The central request shifts from "give me" to "shape me." They feel a subtle, almost melancholy grief as they outgrow a former, necessary version of themselves, a quiet, internal funeral for the person who capably carried them to this precise boundary line, but who can journey no further. And then a strange, inexplicable peace descends, a deep-seated sense that the next chapter has already been meticulously written and is simply awaiting their complete, faith-filled agreement. This is why the loud clamor of a party feels utterly foreign and intrusive. How could they possibly explain to a room full of people that their very bones can physically feel the calendar turning, that their spirit is registering the audible click of a lock opening somewhere in the vast hallway of destiny? On the actual eve of their birthday, the chosen individual can acutely sense the architecture of their divine calling rearranging itself. People are silently shifting into new assigned roles in their life. Opportunities are rotating into perfect alignment, much like celestial constellations. Old stagnant desires are dropping away like leaves out of season. Even their basic physical appetites begin to change. Cravings become purer and cleaner. The type of music they can tolerate narrows significantly. Their sensitivity to words, to spaces, and to motives increases dramatically. This isn't a sign of fragility. It is spiritual calibration. Their soul is actively fine-tuning itself to a higher, clearer frequency, so that the crucial, whispered instructions are not lost in the static and distractions of the world. And in that deliberate hush, the divine begins to number the next year of their life with a bone-deep, unmistakable clarity. They receive intuitive guidance, what to build, what to politely refuse, where to firmly plant themselves, where they must decisively burn the bridge, but then bless the path from a distance. Their self-imposed silence is never loneliness. It is a process of consecration under construction, a sacred, energetic staging ground where unseen angels are rearranging the subtle furniture the eye can't see. The chosen one feels the doorway long before it visibly swings open, and they stand there, perfectly steady, spiritually sober, and completely ready, knowing with absolute certainty that when the clock strikes midnight, the true message won't merely be happy birthday, it will be deployment begins. Now hold your breath for a brief moment. Do you sense it too? That gentle, soft pressure filling the room, like the very atmosphere is leaning in close? Good, don't move. The next secret truth will beautifully explain why that palpable pressure is not a dire warning, but a profound, spiritual welcome. Most people gravitate towards celebrating birthdays because they possess an innate desire to be visibly seen. They desperately crave the brief, warming glow of attention, the fleeting rush of human validation, and the simple comfort of knowing that someone, anyone, remembered their existence. But the chosen ones have already fully traversed the wilderness of invisibility. They have walked through desolate seasons where no one applauded their efforts, no one sent a text of encouragement, and it felt as though absolutely nobody cared about their struggle. It was in that deep silence that they encountered the only applause that holds any lasting significance, the quiet, gentle, "well done," whispered by the divine. That is precisely why, when their birthday rolls around, they no longer actively chase external recognition. They have spiritually outgrown the deep-seated need for human approval, because they've internalized the truth that purpose requires no audience. Their intrinsic worth was meticulously forged in those unseen, forgotten places, in nights where their prayers were accompanied by tears instead of balloons, when they intensely wrestled with the divine, instead of aimlessly dancing under party lights. The world persistently taught them that being loved equated to being constantly visible. But the divine taught them a deeper lesson, that being chosen often necessitates being hidden. They discovered that any validation sourced from people fades as quickly as the candlelight on a cake. But divine validation, that eternal, indelible stamp on the soul, never ever extinguishes. The deeper they grew in their spirit, the more clearly they understood the pattern. Every forgotten birthday was actually celestial training. Every single year that felt unnoticed was the divine's subtle way of teaching them how to shine brilliantly, without the crutch of human applause. Because the profound truth is, the very moment people stop noticing you, the divine begins to quietly promote you. He systematically removes the external noise so that you can hear his constant, resonant approval echoing clearly in the silence. And that silence, over time, becomes genuinely addictive. Not because it's lonely, but because it is pure and unfiltered. There are no masks required, no need for performance, no pretense of any kind, only presence. They no longer post celebratory pictures to desperately prove their worth. They don't require a flood of comments to confirm their intrinsic value. They've reached the understanding that the greatest celebration isn't when others honor their day. It's when they can sit entirely in solitude and still feel absolutely whole and complete. The chosen ones have arrived at a level of spiritual maturity, where external applause feels small, almost like a distracting static. Their heart no longer anxiously jumps at attention. Instead, it rests peacefully in deep assurance. They've definitively outgrown the need for people to see them because they know with absolute certainty that heaven already witnessed everything they endured, every trial they overcame to reach this very moment. And here lies the paradox that most will never fully grasp. The quieter their birthdays became, the louder their spiritual authority grew in the unseen realm. Because every single year, when they consciously choose stillness over spectacle, they are making a powerful declaration to the divine. Your will and your presence matter infinitely more than the fickle crowd. And the divine immediately responds by opening doors that no human could ever open for them. That's the beautiful, unfolding paradox. The moment they completely stopped seeking external validation, they became unshakable from within. So, when they choose to skip the party, it's not a rejection of others. It is an elevation of self. It's not sadness. It is sovereignty. They are no longer passively waiting to be celebrated because they have already actively become the celebration itself. They are living proof that an identity meticulously built in silence can never be destroyed or swayed by noise. Every single candle they deliberately choose not to light becomes a potent symbol of the light they now profoundly carry inside. They no longer require people to constantly tell them they've grown or progressed. Their spirit already knows it, and that's enough. And when the quiet midnight hour arrives, they don't passively make a wish. They make a firm, quiet declaration. I am enough. I was chosen. I don't need to be seen to be absolutely significant. That is the guarded secret the world simply cannot decode. The chosen ones no longer require the presence of a crowd to feel fully alive. Because the moment they stopped needing to be noticed, heaven began to take notice of them in a profound way. And now, something even more deeply mysterious begins to unfold, a revelation that few souls ever truly experience. The next truth reveals why their cherished silence is never emptiness, but rather a focused preparation for divine recalibration. For the chosen ones, birthdays are not a time for passive entertainment. They are an explicit command to realign. While the rest of the world dances and socializes under bright lights, they sense a sacred, low-level electricity humming just beneath their skin. It's a subtle, yet undeniable internal vibration in the soul that firmly states, something old must decisively die so that something exponentially higher can be born. Their birthday is not a mere festivity. It is a mandatory reset, a detailed recalibration of the energetic frequencies that exist between their spirit and their overarching destiny. Every single candle they choose not to light becomes a spiritual spark igniting inward transformation. They are not running away from life. They are meticulously purifying it. In these sacred, self-imposed hours, they feel the deep presence of the divine's hand, reaching into the intricate circuitry of their being, adjusting, rewiring, and intensely refining their core. This is why they suddenly feel an intense craving for solitude, for fasting, or for deep, uninterrupted reflection. They feel a spiritual urgency to cleanse their physical space, to discard what is stagnant, and to meticulously reorganize the unseen atmosphere around them, because they know without a doubt that energy never lies. Every object, every single memory, every carelessly spoken word in their personal space holds a tangible vibration. And when a new spiritual cycle commences, that vibration must absolutely match the new, refined version of themselves. So they move silently through their day, like reverent priests tending to a sacred temple, which is their own life. They pray not for simple blessings, but for total alignment. They may fast not to suffer, but to sharply refine their discernment. They journal not to record fleeting memories, but to extract the vital codes of the past year. Every betrayal, every miracle, every encrypted message that was buried deep inside the chaos. Because to the chosen one, absolutely nothing that happens is random. Every tear they cried held crucial data. Every frustrating delay carried an encrypted vital message, and when their birthday arrives, they quietly decode it all. This is the core reason they distance themselves from noise, not out of pride, but out of absolute spiritual necessity. The crucial download must be received clearly. The entire success of the next phase of their mission critically depends upon it. While others might drink to forget the previous year, the chosen ones go deeply still to remember exactly who they are, where they came from, and precisely what the divine entrusted them to complete. Their silence is never emptiness. It is preparation for the next divine major assignment. They can feel the gravitational pull of the old frequency, trying desperately to cling to them. Habits that are now ill-fitting, attachments that have long lost their original purpose, and thought patterns that consistently drain their power. Their birthday organically becomes the line in the sand where they make a new, different choice. They actively break invisible, lingering agreements with pain, release people whose energy no longer resonates with their future, and consciously welcome the vibration of new, sustainable strength. And as they commit to this internal cleansing, the entire universe responds in kind. Opportunities begin to decisively shift. Connections realign. A strange, powerful clarity settles deeply in their chest, the kind of clarity that can only be born from total obedience to the divine timing. The chosen ones possess an intuitive understanding that heaven systematically updates their destiny like software. Each year is encoded with its own unique spiritual codes, and if they fail to initiate a proper reset, they risk functioning on outdated, ineffective instructions. That is why they step back from everything that is external. They are sinking into their source. They allow the divine to erase the old scripts from their spirit, overwrite their lingering fears, and install a fresh, elevated vision. It's not dramatic, it is simply divine maintenance. And while the world celebrates simple survival, they celebrate strategic progression, because they understand that the ultimate goal isn't just to survive another year, it is to vibrate significantly higher within it. Their silence is a deep ceremony. Their stillness is a profound conversation. They consciously speak less because they are intentionally listening more. And what they are hearing are the clear blueprints for the future. The chosen ones treat each birthday as a reset button pressed by heaven itself, not merely to start over but to start deeper, not to escape the realities of life, but to decisively command it from an elevated place of spiritual authority. So, if you ever find yourself wondering why they vanish when the candles come out, it's because they are diligently busy becoming the next version of themselves, the version that their destiny has been patiently waiting for. And within that quiet, powerful transformation lies a secret truth that few ever consciously notice. The moment they stop being celebrated by the crowd, creation itself begins.